What's good, everybody? You know what time it is? It's time for Elevated Vibes right here on IntellectualRadio.com, a iHeart radio station. Now, you know the usual. You want to jump in this conversation. The number to call is 708-223-8953 or hit us up on Facebook Live. And even now, if it starts to work, you can check us out on Fanbase. All right, everybody, you know the deal. This is Elevated Vibes. I'm your boy Abdul Rashid, along with Big E from the D, baby.
Hey, how y'all doing? Good to be back.
No doubt, no doubt. All right, everybody, we're gonna speak on some things that's going on in showbiz. All right. Now I'm gonna name y'all a few different names, and we just gonna get into it. All right. Let's start off with Elvis Presley, Harvey Weinstein, Jerry Lee Lewis, Roman Polanski. We'll get a little political on this one. Pete Hegseth. And then let's do the rest of these names. Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, Russell Simmons, Nate Parker, Puffy, and now Jigga himself, Jay-Z. Let me hear you, Eric. What you got to say?
Well, so we're gonna comment on we're gonna hit the Jay-Z one first.
I mean, we wrap them all up. Come on in it. Come on
Well,
with it.
you can really see there's kind of a double standard when it comes to treatment of what certain people get in the media when it comes to this, when it comes to sexual assault, things of that nature. So I think like looking at it, like, yeah, you can definitely tell, like, I mean, it's like, hey, these people we're gonna hold accountable or over these accusations, these people over here kind of get a pass, and that's been, the kind of like the modus operandi for a while now. We clearly saw what happened with Harvey Weinstein while the whole Bill Cosby thing was going on. He had a whole court case that was going on in the background, and the media really didn't cover that much, and I think even at that time when he was going through his court case, again, it's just one of the things that I would say against Oprah just a little bit. Don't forget that we had the whole Finding Neverland thing that she was the host of.
Yes.
With these two guys that had already they got, well, not just accused, but got found they lied before with some other things they were saying about Michael Jackson years ago. And now they get to come back and have an entire special on, more lies that they were telling. And then Michael Jackson's already been dead for 10 years at this point.
Yes.
Meanwhile, you have Harvey Weinstein going through this entire court case about all the stuff that he did. And there was little to no coverage on a lot of that stuff that was going on with him. And I remember sitting at home and seeing this whole thing about this Finding Neverland situation. And man, radio stations were like, oh, we gotta stop playing Michael Jackson music now. We're not gonna play it anymore. And I'm sitting there, oh, Harvey Weinstein has a whole case going on. I did not hear one word about anyone trying to cancel any Weinstein Company movies.
My thing too, just even to jump with that, why do we crucify some folks and don't crucify the other ones? And I'm saying like this, a lot of folks are still, I love Elvis Presley, blah, blah, blah. But yet Elvis Presley started off with a 15-year-old. And then when he got with Priscilla, she was 14.
Right. Right.
you
sweep that up under the rug,
you have to look at this. But then you got folks like Russell Simmons who can't even come back in this country because he know he'll be arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I mean, you got to go back and look at it. And I'm not, and everybody, I please hope that y'all can understand this. I'm not excusing anything that any of these people may have done. I'm just going to say may have done. All right. And now they coming at the Jigga. And as always, when you trying to touch big and get bigger and get to a certain echelon, now they're trying to tear you down and tear you up.
That's right.
And you have to look at it. We just jump on the bandwagon and keep tearing us up.
That's right.
Why do you think we keep doing it? We just, I mean, it's got to be more than the crabs in the barrel effect.
I think a lot of us really just at the end of the day like to tear people down. that have a little bit more than we do. I mean, look at social media. When the last 5 years, people have gotten more access to really give their unfiltered opinions, whether they're wrong or not, on everything that's going on in the United States and across the world, and you have a lot of people on social media that are, let's just say, for lack of a better word, have been through some traumatic things, maybe some traumatic situations in their life. And a lot of those people, instead of getting maybe help, maybe some type of therapy for the things that they went through, social media likes, you know what I mean? That's their therapy. And when they get those likes from people that they don't know, hey, I can build this fan base, I can open up to a wider audience, talk about these things. And at the same time, they're passing on that trauma to other people who might need some help, you know what I mean? Or some actual therapist to talk to. But that's when you have social media that works like that, that's what you get. You have a lot of people out there that had trauma in their lives that are now on social media giving advice to other people. And this is what you get. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, man, so, you start to do well, and there's always going to be someone, waiting to tear you down, wait for you to do something wrong. And we're all human. We're all going to mess up at some point. Now, I'm not, again, like what Rich said, I'm not like excusing any behavior or anything like that, because apparently there's some other stuff that we have to get into when we talk about those people that he brought up. But I mean, you can clearly see there's a double standard here, because when we get into the whole well, I'll let you lead on that with the whole Jay-Z thing. It is a mess up situation, but I have thoughts on that as well. But yeah, I mean, there is a double standard. Because then again, now I'm not up on what else happened with Harvey Weinstein. I don't know if he was charged, if his case got thrown out. That I do not know.
If I remember correctly, they did some, for parts of his charges, they reversed some of them. I don't remember. I would be lying saying I remember which one, but I do remember they did reverse some of them, which all that he did. And it's been proven, all that this man did, he should not be out on his walker, take some time out of prison or wherever he's at, and he's probably at a very minimum security prison, while you got folks like Kels who I don't think he ain't gonna never see the light of day. Right. I mean, and again, we're not excusing what he done. Nobody's excusing that. You know what I'm saying? You do some things, but that's what it is. Yeah. But to not, halfway work with this man, to try to, after the first time he did something that he got away with,
right?
Some of his people and some of the people that he may respect should have pulled him to the side, say, Rob, hey man, you did A, B, C, D, E, and F. We got to fix that, man. You know what I'm saying? Because he wouldn't have kept going to this point if somebody pulled that man to the side that they knew he had some respect for them.
Right.
Because you just can't go pull a man to the side if he don't. He'd be like, dude, who are you? You know what I'm saying? If you don't step up out my face, bro.
Right.
So that's a whole nother story.
Right.
But even the thing with Jigga right now, it's a social media thing going on. I don't know how true it is. I don't know how far it goes. But because his daughter Blue Ivy is in the new Lion King coming up.
Okay.
And I think it's Disney who does the Lion King. They talking about her keeping her position, even though it's just a voice thing, but still keeping her position within that movie because of what her pops allegedly may have
right.
done. And if that's true, if are the people who say they love Beyonce, they love this and they love that, are they gonna step up? You know what I'm saying, and help her out? I highly doubt it. Because that's what we're talking about, on the fact that we're quick to just to rip us apart, rip them apart. Again, I'm not saying they didn't do what they said.
And what do you say? He did that shit.
I'm not
I'm
saying
we're playing devil advocate now, and I'll be the bad guy here. He did that shit.
Hey. You know, a brother wasn't there, so I ain't making no claims on nothing.
I'll do it for you, man. I'll do it for you. You mean to tell me all this time you've been hanging out with Diddy at all these parties for all these years, y'all best friends, you don't know nothing. You ain't seen nothing. You ain't got nothing to do with anything that's going on. Yeah, I don't believe that. But whatever, hey, innocent till proven guilty. But,
yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. That's what it's supposed to be. So, and then even jumping on that, it's kind of odd. And then just to throw this to the people as well, doing court cases and all that, as African Americans, we are found guilty and have longer sentences, 13.4% of the time. Hispanics is 11.2% over Caucasian Americans. Let that sink in, everybody.
Yeah.
That's not telling you, even not, and I know on this show we talk about a lot of what's going to happen, possibly may happen starting in January. You know what I'm saying? If that don't seek in to say, okay, we got to start having each other's back.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
what we doing? What we doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then, and I'm gonna ask you this: do you feel that if you look in the media, most of the time, a minority, it could be a TV show, it could be a movie, whatever, they're considered the monster. They're considered the bad guy in the movie. Do you think that has something to do with it on where, like I was just talking about, the percentage of the time that we are found guilty, where we find the longer sentences? Do you think that has a part to do with all that?
I think it does. If you look at the simple fact that, again, for a lot of these court cases, I haven't personally looked at a lot of the jury pools, like actually who's in it. You know what I mean? Looked at some statistics in certain areas, or there's a, let's say the jury pool is maybe 70-75% white, but think about this. If you're a white person in America and you're on a jury for, I don't know, black guy robbed a store or something like that, right? And in your neighborhood, you don't have any black people around. You don't have any black friends. Only thing you know about black folks is what you see in the media. And if the media is now, no, I'm not. Our media, as far as like movies and stuff like that, is a lot better than what it used to be. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's you know what I mean. Like I think like I saw an old picture a while ago of I can't remember the guy's name. He was big in he was a big Western star, man. But he was really racist, and he played Genghis Khan, and I can't remember the guy's name. It'll come to me right in the middle of the conversation later. John Wayne, thank you. Yeah. So
and I forgot he played Genghis Khan.
Yeah,
it
right?
took me a minute to sit back and think. But go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, man. So that was considered okay. That was considered okay at the time. So now, so between then and now, big difference. But to get back to what we were talking about,
Yes,
but
sir.
still, there's still a lot of people that live in the suburbs that don't really have a lot of exposure to Black Americans other than what they see on television. And so when they or the media, the news, whatever you want to say. So when they get into a situation where they're in a jury and the person that's on trial is someone Black, their default is going to be whatever they saw in that movie, whatever's on the news, whatever is on social media. Oh, they're monsters. Oh, they're violent. They're inherently violent all the time. Oh, the Black guys just want white women. They just want to take them and do whatever. But we got to stop this. So if that's about 75% of the people you have on the jury that's deciding your fate, what do you think is going to happen? You know what I mean? So, I think that's a lot of the reason why we get the results of some of these cases that we do get. You have people who, and it might be, it might be set up that way. Hey, we want to convict this guy. Let's just make sure prosecution, make sure that our jury is 75-80% white suburban Americans. And we can get this guy put away for 10, 20 years, whatever it is. I'm pretty sure if you go back and look at a lot of those juries that, the guys got convicted, there's probably majority on that jury that doesn't look like you or me.
Exactly.
So, and that's just a sad truth for America, man. I mean, you see it all the time. Even with the, you say, I know we talked about that before, and it's not a subject we're going to touch that much on, but even with I think his name's Daniel Penny, the Marine that choked out the homeless black guy, which I found out the other day, the guy was only like 30 years old,
right,
and like he got off with no charges.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like a trained, even when, I don't know how long he's been out, but I'm just saying, a trained Marine, even if he's been out for 4 years, 8 years, whatever, at some point in his life, he was trained for combat versus a guy that probably, it sounds like he has some mental illness going on, as far as I know, at that exact moment, hasn't been in any type of combat sports. You know what I'm saying? So you have someone that's trained, that's been in the military, and I'm a veteran myself, versus someone that, is on the train hollering at people.
He
stuff
was
like
a
that.
Celebrity impersonator, man.
Yeah.
He impersonated Michael Jackson, I think, all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And, you got these people that be on the train to do things. And I'm not saying that he didn't probably was on that train saying something crazy, because he probably was. I mean, how many times we have got on the L or whatever, and, you see a person with some type of mental issues or whatever that that say some things, and they may act in a certain way, but for the most part, most of us ignores it, or we may let them know about themselves, and they'll back away or whatever. And the fact that since you was talking about Daniel Penny there, the fact that he has this type of training, why this guy, okay, I could understand subduing him, holding him down for a minute or two. Right. You know what I'm saying? And, you can hold him with the other passengers until the police come and hand them over. This man had him on the ground for 6 minutes with a chokehold for 6 minutes. Yeah. Even if you play wrestling with your kid, and your kid get that arm around your neck, you like, okay, that's enough, boy. You tell your kid, back off, dog.
I ain't playing no more. Get off me.
Right, go on, get off me now. Right, because it's getting with you. I mean, you cutting off air. So,
and that's the thing, and he should know that. And even like in combat sports, when you're fighting someone, whether you're doing jiu-jitsu or whatever, wrestling, like you said, hey, once you're in a chokehold and that guy, taps out, that's it, you let it go. So the part of the video that I saw was the train had already been stopped. People were getting off. The doors were open. Of course, there's people still filming this whole thing, but he still, like you said, he still has a guy in a chokehold. Right. There's no reason for that. Even if you wanted to restrain the guy to, from hurting people, you can pin him down to where you don't have to have a lethal chokehold on him for 6 minutes. That's definitely going to kill anyone. You know what I mean? Even if you're in a combat sport, So again, to get back to what we were talking about, like you said, with the hypocrisy or the differences there, I don't care what anyone says. There is no way on this earth that you'll be able to tell me if those roles were reversed.
Right.
If that was a black guy that was a Marine that choked out a homeless white dude, that he would get away with no charges. That would never happen. Never happen. So I think, as far as what I've seen, we haven't had an honest conversation about that.
Yeah.
But I think for us, there's always going to be that. And it's sad because it should be innocent. And we may joke, it should be innocent until proven guilty, really. But right off the bat, a lot of us are, we're in the eyes of the law, we're guilty until we're found guilty. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's basically what happens,
Right.
So I'm not surprised that this stuff's coming out about Jay-Z.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. I mean, once I think once you see who's in that inner circle and everyone that's been involved in those parties and everything else going on with Diddy, like there are going to be some other people coming down on the list, but I don't think any of them will be white. I'm just saying.
And just to even add to it, you did have some Caucasian folks at Diddy's parties. Ashton Kutcher, excuse me, Ben Affleck, You know, we can keep going, you know.
Oh, the FBI just like they deleted all that footage, right? Them guys.
Right.
Nope.
Right.
Ah, this black guy right here, Jay-Z.
You know, and the thing is, the wild thing is, in my book, a lot of times they're going at them, and we're letting them go at them when they're getting to that point. Okay, and you know, Jigga is pretty much considered a billionaire now, right?
Yeah.
Am I right? Right. Okay. Right. And so you already had got Puffy. So now let's go get this other guy.
Mhm.
Just like with Cosby, he was getting some things going on with NBC. And right.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
now all of a sudden you coming to get him. You know, Nate Parker, yeah, and I know his thing was more of a, if I'm right, a spousal abuse, I think. But the thing was, he made that one movie that was going to even shoot him up to another level.
Mhm.
But what did we do? And I'm not knocking it because it came out the same time. I'm trying to remember, it came out the same time that Tyler Perry's Halloween movie came out. When his movie came out, but
Is that
nobody.
Boom Medea?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and you know, nobody went to go see Nate Parker's movie, which was a good one.
Yes.
Nobody went to go see it. You know, not giving. I'm not condoning what the man may have done. Not condoning it at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
But all these things where you got this double standard, like I mentioned earlier within the show, Roman Polanski. His last movie before he ran to France with the 13-year-old, hint.
Yeah.
Some people say it's one of the greatest directed movies ever.
I think he still got an award for that.
Yes, he did.
Okay, all right.
I
thought there was a video where the clap, everyone stood up and clapped for him when he got the award. Like he's not able to receive this award. Sorry. We'll mail it to him.
Right. No doubt. And just to let y'all know, if y'all want to get in this conversation, the number to call is 708-223-8953. Once again, that is 708-223-8953. And just going off Facebook Live, our partner, who's a little busy today, so he wasn't able to make it with us, he was just saying that he was asking you that what's the name, Jordan Neely, yeah, did he try to kind of tap to say that's enough?
Mm-hmm.
Which I do believe he did. Is that right? Or he at least was yelling, saying that was enough.
From what I remember, and again, I haven't looked at everything as far as like what his reaction was. I just know that of course he was struggling and everything like that, but you have someone in a chokehold like that, when you can feel their body go limp.
No doubt. We got a caller real quick. Caller, go ahead.
It's the boss, man.
Yes,
I was calling in.
Yes, sir.
I hear Detroit talking and you.
How you doing, man? How you doing?
I'm good, sir. I'm good. I was just calling. Not to make the show a little interesting, but I'm gonna disagree with Detroit on the New York guy.
Okay.
New York guy.
Why is that? Why you disagreeing?
Well, I don't think that was. I get what you guys are saying, but I don't think it was racial animus. Like, I don't think this was a racial animus case.
Okay.
I think we were coming off, if y'all remember, right around that time, we had like a couple of like public shootings, right? So attention is already heightened, combined with dealing with the person with mental health. Now, to Eric's point, I get it, chokehold, but we're looking at it from a rational standpoint, perspective. Like, if you train, it's always under certain circumstances, right? Either in the gym, the mat, even in your martial arts training that you receive in the military. But when you're in that situation and you're there, and you have, and I think they did have genuine fear.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of fault the bystanders because someone should have tapped that soldier or that Marine and say, hey, stop, he's out.
Now, wait. Now, some folks, and I did remember hearing on that video, they were saying that's enough. That's enough. He did not release. You know, and I know
what you go, but you understand too, in MMA, even when they are fighting, remember Big John the ref, because you get so hyper focused and so tunnel vision, you might not even hear them saying that's enough. So that's why the referees are trained to physically intervene. Even when you're punching, if you look in those matches and the refs jump in between, like the dude's knocked out on his feet, right? The refs physically intervene because when you're in that fight or flight, that adrenaline is running and you're pumping, you don't know. Like your mind is literally in survival mode. And so you keep going and you keep pummeling until the threat is shot. That's why do you think there's always so many shots when there's multiple cops on the scene? Like 38 shots, 40 shots, right? Because they're trained, or you're trained when you're using your weapon, that you don't stop shooting until that body collapses, right?
Right. Okay.
And so when that body, but here's the thing, it is literally the violence of the bullets entering the body that keeps it up, right? But in your mind, your training and all of that stuff, I don't stop choking this dude until, you know, he's limp or whatever, right? And so just to say, hey, that's enough, wasn't enough. You're already in fight or flight. Somebody should have stopped and intervened.
Agreed.
And so I don't think that's a racial animus case.
Now I agree with you that somebody should have intervened more. You notice I put that more behind that. They should have intervened more. But the thing is, too, on the same thing, he could tell that I could tell off the video that man's body was dropping. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but you got to remember, Rich, he's from behind and you got that chokehold. And if you're applying a chokehold right, you're on the opposite side. If you're on the same side, you're not choking. You're on the opposite side.
Right. And I get that. I get that. And so are you telling me that he should not have received, like he didn't receive any punishment? He should not have caught something before, I think it was like 2 charges.
No.
No. Go ahead.
No. I think in any case, even if it's a clear case of self-defense, that justice determines that our life is so precious that anytime that there's a taking of life, even if there's a clear rule of self-defense, it should have to go before a body of peers, because we hold life to be so precious and so dear. And so I don't care. Like if the man had a Glock 15 and it jammed on him, and you took a piece of broken glass and stabbed it into their neck, and there were 20 witnesses and 15 drones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think justice, the taking of a life is the taking of a life, right?
That's correct.
And therefore, you should have to go before a tribunal, before your peers, because it does 2 things. It exonerates you as a peer, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're saying that killing was justified, right? Like there are times where killing is justified, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it does that. But as a collective whole, it tells the body politic that no one is above the law.
I agree with you on that no one should be above the law.
In theory. Trump is proven that completely wrong.
Fair enough on that one. Fair enough on that one. But let me ask you this. Here's another thing. Now, we all been on the L. We all seen time to time, you get somebody with some mental issues. You know, they either have been ignored. If you had to tell them off and check them, you checked them. But they either was ignored or whatever. But and you look at the size of that guy, it's like, okay, how far this guy really think he can go? You know what I'm saying? Because dude was frail. And I'm not saying he ain't had no... But
here's the other thing, too.
Come on.
People with mental health issues, when they're in their psychosis, are incredibly strong. And their pain receptors may not be the same as our... And I'm not saying that, and I don't want to say like they don't feel pain, right? I don't want to say that. But the best thing that you can do when dealing with somebody in the psychosis or crises or mental health crises is time and space, right?
Okay.
Time and space, unless you're in a situation where you cannot do either. So perfect example is our girl down in Springfield, right? The man pulled the gun when she had the hot water running, right?
Right.
Or to believe. It was easier for him to retreat, right?
Right.
And come out of the unit and put something between him and her, right? You don't, she called you and said, I'm having issues. And but if you're, and this is the problem that our police officer talked about, if you're not used to dealing with people person to person, and you've only been dealing with people on video games and talking all that yin yang,
right?
Well, you lack the skills necessary to have a human interaction with someone and to recognize, hey, you're having a psychosis. And sometimes it's a fine line, psychosis versus death and bodily harm. But in that case, he clearly should have retreated out of the unit, put something there, called for additional assistance, told her to put the water, because you don't know what her psychosis is telling her. You might look like a demon to her. You know what I'm saying? So that's that case. Same thing with the train guy. I just think when you're in that mindset, adrenaline's pumping, you don't know. Now, regarding Nate Parker, allegedly what's going on with, Jay-Z, it's just amazing to me, to Detroit's point. Why is it that the first thing when people with the melatonin have some type of issue, allegations, the first thing they talk about is, such and such should be dropped from the label. Such and such should be divested of their income. I'm like, hold on. Y'all weren't talking about that when Agent Orange was talking about grabbing by the woo-woo. Ain't nobody talking about boycotting Trump hotels, nothing. But now Jay-Z just got a mere allegation, and they're talking about, the Super Bowl should not partner with him for the halftime show. What?
Yeah.
What? Make it make sense, Sway.
Yeah.
How?
Right.
This is the allegation, the mere allegation.
And then what kills me, just like I've been saying a few times, we're too quick to jump on that bandwagon and tear them down too.
Well, Rich, the whole hypo for this question, for our talk tonight, and, just do the word couldn't be there, was, could Martin Luther King be Martin Luther King today? Or will we be so focused on his extramarital affairs that there would never been a civil rights movement?
Right.
That is very true.
That's true.
Very true.
That's true.
So when you talk about what happened on the train with the Daniel Penny, so my rebuttal to that is, well, let me ask you this question first. So when you talk about the people that were there, that saw everything that we're filming, do you think in our culture right now we're kind of desensitized to violence? Because when you talk about someone should have stepped in and said something, or maybe been a little bit more, right? You know what I mean? So everyone's worried about, hey, if I put this on my YouTube or my TikTok, I'm gonna get some likes and I might get a check. Instead of like, hey, you know what? Let him go, man. You know what I mean? Maybe try to pull him off of him at some point. Right. So do you think that's a big issue that we have in this in America right now?
It's not even desensitized, Eric.
Yeah.
The issue is, and I'm going to answer you this with an analogy. How many times have you gone to the concert and everybody's watching the concert through their phone because they're taping it?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of being present in the moment, not taping it. I'm not going to tape this. I want to be fully present in the moment without a device so I can fully enjoy it. And so everything now is about getting it on camera. We all want instant stardom, and because we think it leads to riches and all of this stuff, and people are now just famous for just being famous. You don't have to have skill. You don't have to have talent. And so, like with the guy on the train, Daniel, I think of it in a broader context of we're also dealing with mass shootings, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in a state where I can't tell if you're having a mental health crisis or you're going to just pull a weapon. And so when people react, and I think, you know, as the Marine may have thought, I don't know if this guy has a weapon. I don't know if he can pull for a weapon. I don't know if he got a knife. I don't know if he got a gun.
Okay.
Right? How many times this year have we heard someone just walking in somewhere? Wasn't it like last year in January where a guy just walked into the grocery store, a black grocery store, and just started shooting people?
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
What was the other shooting? We have the club where the people were in the club. We just had a daycare where two kids got shot. Right. You got a bailiff, I think in Tennessee, who shot his own judge.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah. I remember that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we are not afforded the discernment at this point to determine if someone is having a mental health crisis and I'm on this enclosed cage and he's acting erratic. I don't know if he has a weapon. He's reaching. I gotta act.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying there, that, you know, you train to act and you're looking to act to save those around you, to make sure that everybody around you is good. But
it's not even those around you. Hey, somebody's gonna get a sympathy card for Christmas, and it ain't gonna be my family.
Well, no, I get that, and that's I'm even agreeing with that, you know. But the thing is, doing what you're doing, if you're found out to be wrong, if you found out to have some liability within it, you should deal with that liability. Now, okay, they didn't get him on the first charge, which the judge threw out, but that other one, come on, to say that, you know, he's acquitted, he's not guilty of none of it. I don't know. That's 6 minutes.
Yeah.
That's 6 minutes.
I agree with what he's saying about, like, as far as, like, you know, the people, the desensitized people on the train that were like, hey, I'm just going to film this and just, you know, I'm not present in the moment. You know what I mean? Someone should have definitely, and like you said, someone spoke up. But I mean, at that point, it's like, hey, you got to pull this dude off of him.
Right.
You know what I mean? But my argument again on the other side would be that, well, you know, again, when you talk about, you know, and then, you know, not saying that, I'm not going to generalize people here, obviously, but, you know, and just to bring up the point you say about mass shooters, I mean, you know, a black guy on the train yelling some, you know, obscenities is not the portrait of a mass shooter here in the United States. That would be my argument with that, as far as that point is concerned. But you know what I mean?
Hey, Detroit, point conceded.
Right. Exactly, though.
You know, Dave Chappelle said, hey, some of us in here are more predisposed to having to deal with a mass shooter than others.
Right.
Point conceded.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I mean, I get what he's saying though, because you're, you know, if you're, you know, you're in a heightened state, you know, you're delirious and stuff like that. Yeah, your testosterone, you know what I mean, does your adrenaline, you know what I mean, and it does increase, you know what I mean. So you're harder, you know, to handle than probably a normal person would be in that state. My issue is that, and what I mean about it, as far as like race coming into it, I don't think, let me be clear about this. I don't think that Daniel Penny was like, oh, I'm about to choke this black dude out and get away with it. I don't think he was thinking that. The racial aspect of it, I'm just bringing up as far as like, you know, if that situation will reverse, we'll be dealing with the same type of, you know, no consequences when it comes to the actual court case and how he would be perceived if it was, this black guy just choked out this homeless white dude on the train. Like, you know, we got to do something, you know, but I don't think Daniel Penny at that moment was like, I'm going to choke this guy out because I know I can get away with it because he's a black dude. But I do think at some point within that 6 minutes, you know, and again, I don't know his state, you know, other than him being a Marine, how long he was in, what his actual rate was, you know, I don't know what he did. I don't know if he was in combat or in the kitchen. I don't know. But
well, you know what they say, Marines are just Marines. And this is, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not like the Army where it's soldiers and like, oh, I'm a cook or that. No, Marines are A, grass makes the blood grow. B, I'm a Marine.
Yeah. And so me being not having been a Marine myself, I would just assume that it's an assumption of mine that at some point you've been trained in combat, you've been in those situations where you're doing, CQC training, and you're like, okay, yeah, at this point I know if I got this guy in a chokehold that if he doesn't tap out, he's going to be out in like a minute or two. Right. So my argument will be that for the 6 minutes, I think that's still very excessive for someone that's had training in that field to put that on someone that's a civilian and not receive any consequences at all. And that's the
other thing too. I just feel that he should receive some type of consequences, and he did not. I mean, it's even so far that people are calling this man a hero. He probably don't even want to be called a hero, to be honest. But people are calling this man a hero. And then if you both remember, when they first said, okay, it's going to be a court case with everything, they raised like $3 million for this guy for like in less than a day, if I remember right.
Yeah. That's the thing about the situation, man. On the other side, like to what he was speaking of. Now, you look at the social media aspect of it. It's, how can I say this? You have people out there that when they see a situation like this, they feel like this gives them an opportunity to enact their fantasies. Yeah. You know what I mean? Oh, shit. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So I got, if I'm like, hey, I like Death Wish. That was my shit back in the day. Charles Bronson, blah, blah, blah. Oh, he did this. I can do the same thing and get away with it. So now I'm hoping it doesn't happen. I'm hoping I'm completely wrong, but I don't want to see a rash of these incidents, becoming common occurrences now because this guy didn't get anything.
Right.
So when I'm looking at that, like he said, looking at it as a whole, that's what I'm looking at as well. Like, man, he could have got something.
Yeah. Agreed.
You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. I mean, I think in this case, given everything that's happened in America, and even like, I take combat sports, and you're trained to survive, like, and when you're in that situation, and I said, like, we can all sit here as rational people, not breathing hard, not having adrenaline flowing, not knowing fear, like true, honest fear. Like, I don't know if he has a gun. I don't know if he has a knife. My fear is that if I let go, he can get to that knife or that gun and kill me. And that's why you have to have someone intervene. Someone should have pulled him. Like, now, if I had saw someone try to pull him off and the Marine kept going, yes. Right. But no one, people are just yelling. That's enough. How many times, that's why they say, like, if you're doing like survival training or things like that, you don't yell for help. Like if you're getting robbed, they tell you to yell fire or, something like that, because people are more likely to help.
Right.
As you saw at the end of that tape, everybody jumps off that train.
Yeah.
Now he got this dude, like y'all said, sitting on the ground, knocked out. But even then, enough people were frightened enough that they stormed out that train.
Right.
That's true.
Everybody stormed out that train. Nobody stopped either for him, for Daniel, or for the guy.
Right.
At that point, you're saving both lives because you don't want this man to have to go through and live with a death on his hand, and you don't want this guy to die. Somebody should have jumped on top. And if I had saw that and Daniel kept choking him, then I would have been like, okay, yes, that's murder.
Yeah.
That's murder.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What happened in this case, even though he's a Marine, and I have a problem with using someone's career against them to hold them to a higher standard. I have a problem with that. Right? Eric, I think you said you were in the Navy, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
All right. So in the Navy, y'all got to learn how to swim, right?
Yeah.
You got to be able to stay buoyant for what? 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Imagine someone is drowning and you don't go and help. Well, hold on, Eric. You know how to float for 15 minutes. You couldn't jump in there and save them? You couldn't help hold them? I don't like using someone's career or occupation against them to hold them to a higher standard. Now, if I'm being judged by the same standard, like if I'm a doctor and you mess up my surgery, you have to take my right arm versus my left arm. Well, yeah, now I'm holding you to a standard that a doctor should hold. Doctors should be extraordinarily careful and make sure.
Right.
Right?
Right.
But to use the fact that he's a Marine, trained in combat, that's how he chose to make his living. That's how he chose to make his pay. Okay, but I'm not going to hold it against him as a civilian and say, oh, you should have known better.
All right, let's take it all out. Let's say he's not a Marine. Let's say he does the same thing. And then, just off dome, off just with the street or whatever you want to call it, you can get into it with somebody and go to that level that we all are speaking about, And so if he was not a Marine, now, do you charge this man? That's the question at hand.
I think regardless of what he is, I wouldn't have charged him in this case. I wouldn't.
Really?
No. Well, let me take that.
Not with the secondary charge.
I would have charged him because I think the taking of every life deserves either exoneration or condemnation. Regardless.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Regardless.
Right.
Whether you're a police officer, whether you're a civilian, I have a problem when we don't charge police officers because the internal body politic is saying, hey, we're not going to charge you. We've determined by our standards, like, no. If we're going to be just and fair, it's not only by your standards, but by the standards of the community. So when that cop kills someone, he does it on behalf of the people of Illinois. The people of Illinois should be able to determine whether that killing was justified or not.
All right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because we say life is so precious.
Right.
As a lot of the conservative females are about to find out across this country and their mistresses how precious life is.
Hell yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
I still got to push back on that just a little bit because I only say that is for, like I said, for being someone that was in armed service, and I think when you're in armed services, you do have to be held to a little bit of a higher standard than someone that hasn't served at all. So for me, it's like, yeah, in that situation, I would agree with you if maybe, like, let's just say it was another Marine. Like if he was having a fight on that train with another guy that was a Marine or whatever, someone that was in some type of combat sports and they were fighting, and it was, like you said, a life or death situation between the two of them, and he got him in that chokehold, and it was like, yeah, okay, if I don't have this guy and keep this guy in his chokehold, if he gets out, he's going to harm me or murder me. So for that, I would agree with you on that. That's just my opinion. But for someone that is a homeless man, like I agree with you, but then it's like I don't. You know what I mean? I can't in my good conscience say, yeah, I think that's okay. Now, like I said, someone either in combat sports, another Marine, they're having a fight, that's different. But for the situations for me, no, but I'm taking into consideration everything that you just said. But for me, I just don't agree with that. But I mean,
well, let's say, Eric, like, let's say you were just an ordinary civilian, but your significant other, your spouse, and not let's use the gatekeeper, Rich's wife as a paradigm, right? Okay. She's a taller woman. You're both tall, right? And y'all get into a domestic, right? But she's a Marine. You've been, let's just say, a social worker or a nurse your whole life, your whole career, right?
Right.
What standard is she going to be held to the same standard as a Marine going against you, even though you're a guy, y'all the same height, same build, and you strike her, right? You strike her, right? But she's a Marine, right? Yeah. So who's at fault in that relationship?
Well, anything I do, if that's me and if I strike her, anything I do after that is not going to be in my favor at that point. So I can't, anything she does to defend herself, I think she would be validated in that. I don't think there's anyone on this. Right. I don't think there's anyone that would say, hey, he wasn't the aggressor in something like this. But again, for me, I still got to hold to my point. Like, even if you didn't know the guy was, mentally ill, doesn't know exactly what's wrong with him, and he's defending people for whatever reason, I get all that. But again, for me, it's still like, you've been trained in combat. You have a discernment to know, hey, this is an enemy combatant or this is a civilian. I'm gonna handle this person like this. This person has to be handled this way. So I think at some point there has to be some discernment for him. I can see a little bit more leeway if it's someone that wasn't in the military. For me, that's just my opinion.
Right.
Civilian.
Okay,
yeah, maybe
well,
we could.
What happens if you're in the military and you're a soldier and you're a specialist cook? Am I still held to that standard? I'm trained in how to use firearms. I can maintain a perimeter. I know how to bayonet, but I'm a cook.
I mean, for me, like, that is a very good question. I would still say, you know what? Because I mean, you have boot camp and things like that. So you guys do train in certain situations. But yeah, I mean, still, man. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It is a good point, bro. I can't even argue with you on that.
Right.
But I still got to hold to, man, in the situation, it's like, dude, like, no. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, maybe, a couple minutes, maybe, you know what I mean? To the point, I put guys in chokeholds before, like you do know when the body's done, when the body's limp, if that guy ain't breathing or anything like that. So I think there still has to be some discernment there. So again, he's not in a point, at a situation where, the guy, I know this guy gonna tap off, I'll put him in this, he hasn't been in that type of, obviously, in that type of combat, in a situation or combat sports, anything like this. He don't know. Shit. Now, I didn't see the entire video, so I don't know how long he struggled before he went limp. But if I'm the guy that's got him in chokehold, I know, okay, I'm gonna hold this on him until he stops. And if he stopped moving, I can definitely feel him stop breathing.
Right.
So that's where I'm just coming from. Like, yeah, I just feel like in that situation, he's gotta be charged with something to me. That's how I feel about it.
Without a doubt. Hold on, real quick. Hold on.
He was just found not guilty.
Hold on, real quick, man. Just because we run up a little bit against some time, but and we slid off the subject somewhat. But
y'all talk about my man from South Carolina.
Who you talking about?
The one who said Biden should pardon Trump.
No, yeah, we didn't even get into that, man. But real quick,
next week,
quick,
yeah, man,
real quick, to throw this out here just to see what y'all say real fast, because run up against another show now, man. With the thing deal with Jay-Z, Puffy, all down the line. Do you all believe or think, because of some of the things that some of these states have set up with the statute of limitations or for statutory rape and all that, because a lot of these states, they have the thing where they'll call statutory rape as young as 12. Some of these things that we got going on here, the states are, the states are, I feel liable. Do y'all real quick believe it's liable? The states are liable on some of this.
For this old Jay-Z incident?
Like all
13
that.
At the time, right?
Right. All that real quick. So I'm going to wrap this up.
If true, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Hey, everybody, this has been great. This is Elevated Vibes. We will catch y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.
Peace, man. Thank you.